Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. So in today's video, we are going to be looking at the characters throughout the entire Yu-Gi-Oh franchise that have dueled the most. I'm going to be going in depth on our top 10, but I will be showing you our top 30. Linked down below is a spreadsheet of every eligible duel, and I have already done a video where I've gone over each series and how many duels were in each series, so I don't want to say that was like a prerequisite to this, but I will have that video linked down below in case you do want to check it out. And in this video, we are going to be looking at characters and not shows. Now, you probably think that our 7 protagonists make up the top 7 portion of this list, but you would be wrong. There is actually a character that has dueled more times than one of the Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists. Try to guess which one that is. I'll also be showing you the top 30 at the end of this video, but let's just focus on the top 10 for now. Without further ado, here we go. The Yu-Gi-Oh characters that have dueled the most. I hope you all enjoy. We have 2 characters tied for 9th, the first one being Jack Atlas with 21 total duels. So to be part of the top 10 most dueling characters, you need to have at least dueled 21 times. Seto Kaiba dueled 20 times, so he actually just missed out on this list. And Jack is one of only 2 rival characters to make this list, and only one of 2 5Ds characters to make this list, referring to the top 10. Jack Atlas does benefit from being a leading member of Team 5Ds. He was really the first runner in almost every duel, maybe every single duel, and there were 5 Team 5Ds duels, so I am counting that as one individual duel if that character showed up. And Jack really racked up the duels in really the final, like, 4th of the show. He dueled against Max, the Crimson Devil, a lot of those Team 5Ds duels, against Team Dragon in the exhibition and flashbacks, which count as 2 separate duels. So Jack Atlas really piled on those duels late, and he does just sneak into the top 10 of this list. Another character tied for 9th is Luke from Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s with 21 duels. So it's crazy to think that Luke had 21 duels. He won 20 of them, only losing the final duel in the final episode, episode 92. And in the video where we went series by series and showed how many duels each Yu-Gi-Oh! Series had, we kind of busted the myth that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, even though it was way shorter than any other Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, has the least amount of duels. It is on equal footing with most of your spin-offs. 5Ds, Zexal, Arc 5, even the original Yu-Gi-Oh! And Luke was one of the main characters of 7s. At times, he even felt like a protagonist character. He was definitely the deuteragonist and was the second most important character next to Yuga. A few arcs even being more focused on him than on the main character of 7s. So it's not too surprising that Luke would sneak his way onto the list as one of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime characters that has dueled the most. Coming in 8th, Playmaker with 24 total duels. So yes, that means there is a character that has actually dueled more times than Playmaker, which we will get to in just a little bit. But why is Playmaker so low compared to the other protagonists? You have some protagonists that had about 30 duels, 40 duels, 50 duels, even one that had almost 80 duels. Playmaker almost dueled the same amount of times as Jack and Luke and Kaiba. And when you consider that Playmaker was part of the first 7 Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains duels that took place, it really leaves you baffled as to why there were just so many less Playmaker duels compared to the other protagonists. And the reason really is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains did not have a lot of duels. Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains only had 56 total duels, and so Playmaker dueling in 24 of them, about half of the duels, isn't really bad. The bad part is that final season, after he defeated Bowman, Playmaker dueled once. He dueled against I in the finale, and that was it. So Playmaker really kind of went cold in that final season and was not featured at all in duels. I didn't even realize that he only dueled one single time that entire final season, as I really became kind of the main protagonist, or at least the main character that we were following in that final arc. And yes, that final arc is short, but when you have a show that only has 120 episodes that features a lot of long 2-3 episode duels, you're going to get some weird results like this. And so Playmaker is significantly lower in terms of total duels than a lot of the other protagonists on this list. Coming in 7th, Joey Wheeler with 26 duels. So this is a fun fact that I don't think I would have believed, but Joey Wheeler, and if you got it right, congratulations, has dueled more times than Playmaker, the main protagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, which is crazy. To me, Joey is a phenomenal best friend character, but I did not realize that he dueled nearly as much as he did. But it makes sense. In Duelist Kingdom, while the story was focused on Yugi, there was a huge spotlight and emphasis on Joey being the new and upcoming duelist, and that spotlight didn't change after Duelist Kingdom. He was still that secondary B storyline in much of Battle City. We saw a lot of his Battle City duels featured, and he went very far into the Battle City tournament, which I think also kind of plays a factor here. I mean, he did get to the semis, and you can make a very compelling case he probably should have gotten to the finals and probably should have beaten Marek. He had a lot of duels in the Doma arc in Season 4. He had a nice rivalry with Mai as well as Valen, and so it's not too surprising when you take a step back to think about all the duels Joey had that he shows up so high on this list. But him having more duels than Playmaker, I don't think I would have guessed that one. Number 6, Odo Yuga with 32 duels. So the next 6 characters are going to be the remaining 6 protagonists. It'll be interesting to see if you guys can kind of predict in which order they will be showing up. But Yuga is, by a pretty decent margin, comfortably in 6th place on this list. And it's pretty interesting to remember that Yuga dueled in 7 of the first 9 duels in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. But in the middle portion of the show, and really towards the end, there were a lot of arcs where he just didn't really duel. For instance, in the 5th arc, which lasted 13 episodes, Yuga only had 3 duels. And while Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s did have a lot of duels to select from, it wasn't very reliant on Yuga, and there were a lot of interesting side matchups that we got. Roman, Gakuto, and Luke all got their fair share of duels, and I think that's a reason why Yuga is lower compared to most of the protagonists on this list. Coming in 5th is Yugi Moto with 39 duels. So I don't have too much to say about this. The next 3 protagonists are all separated by only 3 duels. Much like with the amount of duels each series had, there seemed to be that sweet spot where most of the shows fell into, and it seems like most of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonists fall into this 39 to 42 range. Yugi kicking off that range at the lower end with 39 duels. I don't have too much from an analytical point to say. I mean, he was obviously our main character, and just for the record, I counted all of Yugi's duels. So whether it was Little Yugi or the Pharaoh, I counted them and combined them. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I feel like they're one character. They're definitely one spirit. And so 5th place is Yugi Moto. Coming in 4th is Yusei with 41 duels. So Yusei being the protagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, he was just always around, whether it was for Team 5Ds, whether it was the Crash Town arc, whether it was early on in 5Ds or during the Dark Signers arc. Like most protagonists, Yusei was just always around, and so him dueling 41 times, again, kind of that sweet spot, and he just misses the bronze medal by 1 duel. Coming in 3rd, Yuya Sakaki with 42 duels. So Yuya just edges out Yusei for bronze on this list, and he is our 3rd most dueling character ever in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! History. The Yuya duels definitely slowed down when the team went to Synchro, but very early on during the standard arc, Yuya had a lot of duels. He dueled in the first 4 duels. There was another stretch where he dueled for 5 episodes in a row, or 5 dueling episodes in a row. And then remember, after the Zark reset, which I'm not counting Zark as Yuya duels, by the way, Yuya dueled the final 5 duels. So at the very end, it was all Yuya, and it really was a mad sprint to just rack up the duels, and he just passed Yugi and Yusei because of that for 3rd place. It's the opposite of what happened with Playmaker and Vrains, where he only had 1 duel, which was the finale. In those last 8 episodes, Yuya had 5 separate duels, and that really helped propel him to the number 3 spot. Number 2 is Yuma, who has dueled a total of 52 times. What's a little crazy about this stat is Zexal only had 80 total duels, so Yuma was part of 65% of the duels in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. That means if you pick a random 9 duels, Yuma was probably part of 6 of them. He was part of 2 of every 3 duels on average. This is actually the highest dueling percentage of any character ever. It even beats Judai, who is obviously number 1. Judai's total duel percentage is about 59, so he was involved in about 59% of the GX duels. But yeah, Yuma was involved in 65% of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal duels, and he's pretty comfortably ahead of all the other protagonists. And had Zexal had the same amount of duels as Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Yuma probably would be number 1 on the list. The only reason he's number 2 is because GX had 53 more duels than Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal did. So if it felt like Yuma was involved in a lot of the duels during Zexal's run, there is a statistical fact that backs that up. He has the highest duel involvement percentage out of any character in Yu-Gi-Oh! history. And finally, number 1 is Judai, who has dueled 78 times. I know that is ridiculous. It more than triples the amount of duels that Playmaker got. It doubles the amount of duels that Yugi Moto had, that Yuga had. It almost doubles the amount of duels that Yusei and Yuya had. Judai has so many duels in GX because GX had so many duels. It makes a lot of sense when you realize just how many duels the show had. I think what's more disturbing about this is not that Judai has such a big lead and will probably always hold the record. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's lasted 92 episodes. Judai had 78 duels, and most of those were probably two-parters. Judai probably has more dueling episodes, his character alone, than Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's has episodes. That is an insane statistical fact. And what's crazy is, even though GX had so many duels, no other Yu-Gi-Oh! GX character makes the top 10. I'm going to be showing you guys the top 30, and now, yes, I might have missed a character or two, but I think this list is pretty accurate. There are a lot of GX characters on this list, but a lot of them are in that middle range. You have Manjome, who ranks 12th, Johan, who ranks tied for 19th. You have Asuka and Edo, who both had 9 duels each. They rank tied for 21st. And so there are a good amount of prominent GX characters on here that did get a good amount of duels, but none of them made the top 10. So yes, Judai has a lot of duels because GX has a lot of duels, but, you know, maybe you could have implemented having more duels by giving them to more characters. There's some other pretty interesting names on here. A good amount of Sevens characters showed up. Roa, Otis. I think Otis is the only villain that showed up. Gakuto, Roman. Vrains, you have Aoi slash, Blue Maiden, Blue Girl, Blue Angel, just cracking the list. You also have Soulburner and Revolver, pretty low as well. And again, Playmaker, I guess you could say Playmaker barely made the top 10, which is just insane. And there are only, I believe, 4 girl characters that made this list. Those being Aoi, Aki, Asuka, and Roman. And Roman is currently the girl character that has the most amount of duels with 10 duels. We have never seen a girl character duel more than 10 times in a show. Will that change with Yuumu and Go Rush? It's very possible. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, these are the 30 most dueling characters ever in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! History. And of course, we outlined and went a little bit in depth on the top 10 most dueling characters ever. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I really, really hope you enjoyed. I've done the most losingest characters. Yes, losingest is a word. Please look it up. I've done these shows that have the most duels. I've done a lot of fun, weird, wacky statistical videos. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying, and I'll have a bunch linked down below in case you need something to binge. Thank you guys all so much for your incredible support. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you down below in the comments. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Panther J, Blue Maiden 28, and Jarrett Buller, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood and Latrell Smith, and to my Egyptian God tier patrons, Ccapacappuuu and Syn Cloud. To everyone who supports me on Patreon, and to everyone who is a YouTube channel member, thank you so much. The extra support means the world to me, and it allows me to make videos on a semi-daily basis, and I am forever indebted to you guys. Seriously, thank you so much. And definitely check out my channel membership feature and my Patreon for some extra channel perks. And thank you guys all so much for watching. Please leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. Be sure to check out my channel for some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime content. And I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.